Good morning. Today on Spotlight, the final countdown to the return of the long-awaited in-person annual Detroit Jazz Festival. But this time around, fans will have multiple options on how they can see and hear the Labor Day weekend music. Chris Collins, the president and artistic director of the Jazz Festival Foundation, will share the good news. And later on our Sunday morning program, former Detroit Mayor Dennis Archer will tell us what he's been up to for young people and his beloved Detroit. It's Sunday, August the 28th. I'm Chuck Stokes, and this is Spotlight. Let me start it off this way. There was one of those one-hit wonders by McFadden and Whitehead called Ain't No Stopping Us Now. I know you're familiar with it. Do you feel comfortable singing that song just a few days before the Jazz Fest that it's going to be in person and there ain't no stopping us now?
I'll tell you what, I'm not going to sing it because my dogs run for the hills when I sing, so I don't want anyone to hear my singing voice. But the message is clear. We have a whole team, of course, at the Jazz Festival Foundation, along with the incredible craftsmen of Detroit and our stagehand workers and all the wonderful artists. I mean, we are geared up. There is no stopping us now. We are headed for what I believe is going to be one of the more certainly largest and significant and entertaining and engaging Detroit Jazz Festivals in its 43-year history. So we can't wait. As you know, tried in 20 and 2021 to do what we could in person, but we had to make the right choices for health reasons. We did broadcast only. Now, the silver lining here, though, is that in 20, we had nearly 1 million viewers, and in 21, almost 2.5 million viewers in 32 countries. So now what we've done this year is you can be one of the 325,000 plus on the footprint in downtown Detroit live in person, or as a gift from the Detroit Jazz Fest Foundation, we are streaming all 4 stages live in real time from DetroitJazzFest.org to the entire world for free. There's no subscription fee, no nothing.
What's the lineup this year? What are some of the highlights?
Well, you know, some of the highlights. Well, you know, we always let people know there are 4 stages continuously, you know, from Friday, September the 2nd, all the way through the 5th, Labor Day. And so there's a lot to see, and there's a little bit of overlap. You have to kind of wander around. But, you know, we kick it off with our incredible artist in residence, the great Chucho Valdez, godfather of Cuban jazz, you know.
Absolutely.
And then right after he hits on Friday with a new piece, by the way, called The Creation. It's a large ensemble thing, super interesting stuff. And then we finish the night off with the energy of energy. The Soul Rebels are going to be with us, wrapping up Friday night as our opening night. And then throughout the next 3 days, all 4 stages light up from Hart Plaza to Cadillac Square. We have a very interesting sheen on the festival this year, where we've really looked into bringing up some of the musicians that have a new perspective on jazz, some of the younger generation, some of the mixed bands. So we have things that include like Georgia Ann Muldrow, this incredible vocalist that you know, people may know from other places, has really come into her own. And then right here from the Detroit area, one of our hometown artists, a young lady named Anissa. And Anissa is going to really take people by surprise. She's got the voice and the wisdom of someone much further along in her years. So you want to check her out. We also have, you know, coming back home, some of our homecoming artists. The great Charles McPherson, the legend, will be coming back, along with Diane Reeves is coming back.
Wow, you got big names.
Some big names, and then everything in between.
Give us some idea of where we rank for people who don't follow this on an intimate basis, so they have a clear understanding of how important this is to the music industry.
Yes, indeed. You know, Detroit Jazz Festival is one of the very, very, very top festivals in North America, known, as you said, globally. We have a lot of global exchange and outreach, so we keep that, you know, very relevant. But it's, even though it's free, that freeness is a really special gift from our sponsors and donors and the foundation. We work hard to keep it that way, not because it's, you know, just a small grouping or something that's easy to make for free. No, this is a major jazz festival that we keep free for everyone, so that the playing field field is level so that everyone can come, everyone can experience this art that's so important to us. But as far as ranking, you can go anywhere in the world. You mentioned the Detroit Jazz Festival. There's a lot of props given for what we do here, and throughout North America, of course, we're competitive in the top 2 or 3 festivals in North America.
All right, we're going to take a little quick pause for the cause. We will tune ourselves right back in here in just a second. Don't go away. And I want to talk to you a little bit. I want you to put your professorial hat on because you wear a few different hats. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back to Spotlight, talking to the great Chris Collins, President and Artistic Director of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation. And he's also a very accomplished musician and has played throughout the world. All right, my wife always looks for every year the Jazz Festival poster. And you usually have a great one, and sort of a competition among artists to see who can make the most memorable one. Tell us a little bit about that this year, because the one last year was really eye-catching, and it made its way into my house, and my wife made me frame it.
Beautiful, man. Yeah, every year as we do a special art piece that becomes our poster. This year, it's something we've been planning for a few years. We have an exchange program with artists and musicians from Japan. So this year we have some of the musicians coming from Tottori, Japan, and we're playing the Tottori Detroit Reunion Band, bringing the 2 cities together a bit. And within that group, there's a wonderful artist from Tottori, Japan, Koichi, and he does various paintings and photographs, and even these wire structures that are absolutely beautiful. So he created our poster for 2022, and also he'll be here on the footprint, and we'll be doing a display of his original works within the Marriott Hotel, so people can get a full vision of who this artist is. And of course, it shows our respect and love for the globalization of this music, and not only sending our music out to the world, but bringing international artists and international musicians to our city to participate in this wonderful jazz festival.
Sure. Chris, America created jazz and has really taken it to the top level so that it's recognized around the world. In addition to the role that you play with the Jazz Festival, you're also the Gretchen Ballade Endowed Chair there at Wayne State University. So you get to interact with young people who want to take this up as a profession. Where are we now in terms of the health of growing jazz in America?
Well, I've been hearing my entire life, one day jazz is going to die because people are just going to lose interest. And I'm here to tell you that's absolutely not true. I travel around the world doing workshops as well as the work at the university, and I'm here to tell you that there are healthy and tenacious young generations coming up that are learning the tradition, the language, and also focusing on new musics that are part of their experience, popular musics, and folding it into what is jazz. So again, when you come to the Jazz Festival, you may check out Nubia Garcia, a great young lady out of London, a saxophonist, who brings a whole different vision of what jazz is, and you're going to hear it, you're going to experience it, you're going to feel the depth of what this is about. And it's an example, along with all of our high school showcases, our college presentations, and of course our JC Her Jazz Week at Wayne All-Stars, which are students from high school that have been selected along the way. You're going to hear these young generations coming up, and if you go to see our youth vocal competition winner, you're going to hear someone who's talking about Sarah Vaughan and Carmen McRae. I mean, she really is into the tradition. And this is what the younger population is bringing. And we try to feature it in all its different variations at the festival, not only to hear their grasp of the tradition, but to understand and hear their new perspective on this music and where they're going to take it, which is really exciting. Even young folks in our city are hearing mom and dad and grandma and grandpa's jazz records. It's part of their life mixed with the gospel and the blues elements. It keeps this whole Detroit jazz thing just cooking along, and now it's beginning to explode. So it's something pretty exciting, and it's why we honor our angel of jazz, Gretchen Ballade, with this incredible new structure, the Gretchen Ballade Jazz Center.
Chris, we would be remiss if we didn't talk about the donors and the sponsors and the volunteers. That keeps this jazz festival going.
That's right. It's the only way it could remain free. This is a huge undertaking financially every single year. And along with the great Miss Gretchen Valade and what she does, we have our presenting sponsor, Rocket Mortgage, now has been with us for years, the Detroit Jazz Festival presented by Rocket Mortgage, along with Absolpure and Carhartt and Mack Avenue Records and Wayne State University. They all step up every year, along with, most importantly, our individual donors around the world. This year, we even initiated a simple text to give thing where you text DJFF to 243-725, and it takes you right to the donation portal. Give $1, give $5. It makes a difference, not just for this year, but for 20 years from now, so our grandchildren can come down and hear real jazz at the Detroit Jazz Festival for free. That's what we're building now as a foundation to ensure that that stays intact in perpetuity.
Chris, opening night is going to be a little different this year. How so?
Yeah, so this year, opening night, our opening night party will be up at the Lincoln Gardens, just above Hart Plaza, above the Carhartt Amphitheater stage. And then the opening night program will be entirely on Hart Plaza at the Carhartt Amphitheater stage. So it's a little different. And then just the opposite, our closing show will be out at the Chase stage out at the Cadillac Square. So a little opposite day going on at the Jazz Festival, but it's going to be an interesting change.
Little flip-flop, but all of it smack dab in the heart of downtown Detroit. Don't forget Labor Day weekend, just a few days away. It's hopping in downtown Detroit, 4 stages, and believe me, if you can't get enough music there, something's wrong with you.
All right, Chuck, thank you.
All right, it's our pleasure, and you stay safe, and we'll see you down there. And coming up, we'll talk to a man who used to run the city of Detroit and what he's doing for young people today. We'll be right back. Stay with us. And welcome back to Spotlight. Joining me now is a man who used to be in the public spotlight a whole lot on television, dealing with us journalists. The Honorable Dennis W. Archer, former Detroit mayor, distinguished jurist, and attorney at law. Good seeing you, Mr. Mayor. You doing okay?
Chuck, I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Times are interesting that we find ourselves in, but I'm doing fine. So is my family.
That's good. I'm glad to hear that, and you are indeed right. And we'll talk about all that on another time. But we're here to talk to you about something that I know is near and dear to your heart, your wife's heart, the entire family. I was in the audience back in the spring, and you and Trudy Archer were being interviewed by Marion Nolan, the past president of the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan, and you talked about your scholarship fund and the Archer Family Fund. Let's start with the scholarship fund. $2 million is what you got in that war chest about right about now. Over 400 scholarships in 20 years. Why did you start it when you left the mayor's office, and how important is that to you?
I started because I liked the idea of what my predecessor, Mayor Coleman Young, did in terms of starting his foundation for scholarships for young people. And I thought a lot about it and felt that I should do something of a similar nature because I wanted to give back. I'm a former Detroit public school teacher, and I worked my way through high school and college and law school. And I knew what the challenges were having to work and making sure that you can get the best grades that you can with the time that you have to work with. And I was watching what was occurring, especially after reading This World is Flat, written by Thomas Friedman back in the early 80s, middle 80s, in terms of where we were in terms of educating our kids. And I was watching it, and I felt that I wanted to do something to make a difference. I wanted to be able to have students who got a 2.5 or better average, a lot of potential, but they needed to work. They needed to work 10, 20 hours a week in order to make ends meet and to be able to go to school and etc. And I wanted to be able to give them some change in their pocket that would not require them to work,
Sure.
and that they could focus on getting good grades and becoming productive citizens and outstanding professionals after they graduated from college.
These are for minority students at Wayne State University and your alma mater, Western Michigan University?
Yes. I started at Wayne and I wound up graduating from Western Michigan University. And what I did was to, in an effort to avoid the any issues that we now see surfacing today about scholarships and et cetera, and admissions to college, I said I wanted to Wayne State and Western Michigan to seek out young people who graduated from our Detroit public schools. That was the requirement. And because the city, of course, being as it is and was 80% people of color, that fell right into being able to achieve what I wanted to. And I also asked both Wayne and Western to see if they couldn't find a graduate or graduates from Cassopolis High School, which is where I grew up in Cassopolis, Michigan.
We're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, I want to talk about this development fund that you have and the connection with the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan and how you've entrusted them to ride herd over a lot of this. We'll be right back with Mr. Mayor right after this. Mr. Mayor, you also have the Archer Community Development Fund. I think about $1.2 million in there. You can correct me if I'm off by a little bit. A lot of that is going to arts, cultural organizations, and nonprofits in the city of Detroit, which you dearly love. That's a key part of this, but you went to the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan and said, hey, partner with me on this, because that is truly their expertise, taking all of these different funds, managing them well. Talk about that relationship and why that was so important to make that marriage.
Both Trudy and my wife Trudy and I served on the Community Foundation Board of Directors for Southeastern Michigan. And Miriam Nolan was just a great CEO, and it's a wonderful, outstanding board. At one point, I was thinking about I might run for office again, and then decided that I wasn't. And when I decided that I wasn't, frankly, was right after President Obama was elected the first term in 2008. And I decided I don't need to run for anything anymore. Let me just practice law, et cetera. And so I decided that I would give the $1.25 million that I had in campaign funds back to the community that elected me and gave me the privilege to serve as mayor of Detroit. So I worked with Miriam Nolan and the Community Foundation, and we deliberately gave out $1.25 million. And part of that was to set aside another fund, which was about $250,000, that allowed us, the Community Foundation and my fund, to give money to different neighborhood and community organizations. That 1.25 all went out to all of the cultural arts and Historical Museum, DIA, African American, Charles Wright Museum of African American History, and other entities, opera, etc., and to other community groups, and we gave that out. And the development fund was set aside so that in the neighborhood, if somebody wanted to create a pocket park, they wanted to mow the lawn, set up a gym or an area for the kids to play in, or if there was something they wanted to take down or something they wanted to build up that would help a church or help whatever it is, we had that fund available. The Community Foundation itself, its mission deals with bricks and mortar. But because the Community Foundation was so great in working with nonprofits, the nonprofits would come to the Community Foundation and say, can you help fund this? Well, that was not within the mission, but my fund was there that we could give money to make it happen. And so it was just a way of giving back to all parts of the community. And each year I'm given a choice and suggestions as to where we might give that dollar amount to be of help. And
Sure.
it's worked very well, Chuck.
Very quickly, we have about 10 seconds left. If people are interested in applying for these scholarships, do they go to a particular website, or should they just contact the Community Foundation for Southeast Michigan and they'll direct them in the right place?
Well, for the development fund, they go to Community Foundation office and apply. For the scholarships, they apply through Western Michigan or through Wayne State University.
Okay.
And they recommend to our foundation board the students who should and why they should be made a part of it. And we act upon the recommendations coming from Wayne and from Western Michigan University. It's an easy do, Chuck, but it gives back so much to our community. And there's so much that we need now. Anyone who wants to help can create and do things that, I mean, one of the best persons that I tell you I can think of who gives is William Picard.
Yeah.
Bill Picard was a
Outstanding.
classmate at Western Michigan University, and he has just been outstanding in terms of helping universities, helping people businesses and others. He's been very generous in making the difference in lives better. We just need to start thinking about how can we contribute back to our community.
No doubt about it. Well said. Mr. Mayor, always good talking to you. Very quickly, Jazzfest coming up. You're going to be at it downtown?
Yes, sir. I'll be right there. I'll be at Central Kitchen Plus Bar, sitting out there watching the crowd go by, listening to wonderful music and eating some great food.
All right, sounds good. And best to Dennis Jr. and the rest of the family and Trudy, and we'll stay in touch with you. Stay safe.
Please do. Thank you so much, Chuck.
All right, it's always good talking with you. I'm Chuck Stokes. We'll be back next week with more newsmakers in the spotlight. We hope you have a great week.